The train jerks to a halt with a deep, grinding sound, its massive wheels screeching against the rails, a final protest before the journey is interrupted. The POWs, their bodies stiff and fatigued from the relentless journey across the ocean and then by rail, look out from their cramped windows, their eyes still adjusting to the light. The station ahead is far larger than any they've seen before, metal platforms stretch into the distance, and the bustle of American workers, clad in uniforms and moving with practiced efficiency, creates an almost surreal scene. They had been prepared for harsh conditions. They had expected captivity to be synonymous with suffering and deprivation. What they see now, however, shakes that certainty. They are herded off the train, their movements stiff from days of confinement. The air smells unfamiliar, clean, industrial, tinged with a strange sharpness, almost like metal. The towering buildings around them loom, foreign and intimidating, filled with people bustling between them. In their minds, this is not the America they were taught to fear. This is not the land of chaos and destruction they had imagined during the war. They are quickly ushered down the platform, their minds struggling to make sense of the scene unfolding before them. The guards bark orders in clipped, harsh tones, but their eyes are less hostile than they expected. They are still prisoners, still trapped within a war they didn't start, but for the first time in months, there is something different in the air. The confusion lingers as they march through the station, looking out over a world that feels alien and foreign to everything they've known. The clanging of metal and the rush of distant trains only add to their disorientation. Then, something catches their eyes. It's impossible to miss. Docked along the massive piers are ships. But not just any ships. These vessels are unlike anything they could have imagined. The ships are enormous, towering, with large, cylindrical structures lined along their decks. At first, they can't make sense of it. What are these ships doing here? Are they military vessels? Transport ships? No. These ships are something entirely different. They're large, too large to be anything but industrial machines, but they're not carrying weapons or military supplies. It's only when they get closer that the true surprise hits them. These ships, these vast machines of steel and smoke, are not here for war. They are here for ice cream. They stand there, stunned, their minds struggling to understand. Ice cream? Ships just for ice cream? The idea is unthinkable. They had been trained to see America as a land of excess, a place of greed and indulgence, but they never thought they would witness it firsthand, let alone on such an industrial scale. The ships, towering and monumental, are designed to make ice cream. Ice cream. A luxury they had never expected to see, let alone learn that the enemy had entire ships dedicated to creating this treat. A sense of disbelief settles over them. They glance at one another, unsure if they've seen it correctly. This cannot be real. It doesn't make sense. How could a nation at war, struggling with its own problems, devote such resources to something as indulgent and unnecessary as ice cream? Back home, their country had been on the brink of destruction, rationing food, fighting to keep everything from falling apart. They had been told that America was a country of waste, a land of excessive luxury, but nothing in their wildest imaginations could have prepared them for this. The men are silent as they stand there, their faces hardening with confusion. How could this be? The ships look like something out of a dream. Their metal surfaces gleam in the sunlight, while massive cranes unload raw materials. The ships, some of them equipped with enormous freezers and massive cooling systems, begin to take shape in their minds. This is no ordinary cargo vessel. These ships are purpose-built, designed to carry one goal: to produce ice cream in massive quantities. The men exchange glances, their expressions a mixture of disbelief and bewilderment. Pause for a moment. Imagine standing face to face with something that challenges everything you thought you knew about your enemy. How would you react? If you're starting to question everything, hit subscribe to follow this incredible journey. Their guards, now walking ahead, seem to be unconcerned with their confusion. The soldiers move with purpose, continuing their duties without a second glance at the POWs. They are used to this. To them, the ice cream ships are just part of the daily landscape of American efficiency. The POWs, on the other hand, are still processing what they've seen. It's hard to grasp, let alone accept. They had been told that the enemy was decadent, wasteful, even cruel, but this? The realization that such a massive effort was being put into something as trivial as ice cream challenges everything they've been taught. The sight of the ships leaves them feeling small. They are prisoners in a country that runs on machines like these, machines designed for pleasure, for comfort, for luxury. And yet, the men stand there, dumbfounded, struggling to wrap their heads around the magnitude of it all. America, the enemy, the land they were taught to hate, had ships that made ice cream, ships designed for one thing and one thing only. The realization is staggering. Stop and think for a moment. What does it mean when the country you've been taught to despise has something so unthinkable? If you're as surprised as they are, drop a comment below and let us know your thoughts. Don't forget to subscribe to continue following this shocking discovery. As they are ushered away, the men glance back over their shoulders at the ships, their minds still racing. The ice cream ships loom in the distance, their silhouettes dark against the blue sky. How can they process what they've just witnessed? These ships, massive and imposing, are the very symbol of something they never expected. They had assumed that America's power was in its military, in its weapons, in its strength. But now, they are seeing something else, a nation whose power is not just in its arms but in its ability to indulge, to create, to supply. These ships are a testament to a country that has the luxury of producing something so frivolous while the rest of the world starves. The taste of ice cream, a treat they've never thought to expect from the enemy, lingers in their minds. It is not just a luxury, it is a symbol of abundance, abundance that continues even in the middle of a war. As they move away from the docks and deeper into the unknown territory of America, the men cannot shake the image of those massive ice cream ships, the epitome of everything they never imagined about their enemy. They had expected to find a country struggling, weak from the war. Instead, they find a country of excess, a land that can afford to invest in such indulgence while the world around them suffers. The shock is unsettling. The world they had imagined is nothing like the one they are experiencing now. The luxury, the scale, the precision with which America operates leaves them unsure of what to think. How could the world have been so wrong about this country? But more importantly, they realize this: the enemy they had been taught to despise is not just a nation of power. It is a nation that lives in a world of abundance. And it is that abundance, in the form of ice cream ships and machinery built for comfort, that leaves them questioning everything. In the face of such excess, they can no longer see America as just the enemy. They see a nation that operates on a level they cannot yet understand, a nation that makes them feel small, irrelevant, and powerless. The POWs walk in silence, their footsteps the only sound that breaks the tension. The station fades behind them, but the sight of the ice cream ships lingers in their minds, like a dream they can't quite shake. They walk in tight formation, as always, their faces hard and impassive. But beneath the surface, something has shifted. The scale of what they saw, the immensity of the ships dedicated solely to making ice cream, is starting to settle into their consciousness. They had come expecting to find a weakened enemy, a country that would be easy to conquer. But what they've seen is something entirely different, something they cannot yet process. They are led through narrow alleys and down busy streets, the distant hum of industrial machines echoing in their ears. The streets are crowded, filled with workers, families, and the constant movement of goods. It's a city that pulses with life, a country that seems to never stop moving. As they walk, the men glance at each other, exchanging looks of confusion. They had never expected to see anything like this, and yet here it is, staring them in the face, America's abundance. The ships, massive and imposing, had been a shocking discovery, but it's more than just the sight of them. It's what those ships represent, a wealth, a luxury that seems impossible in the midst of war. Pause here. How would it feel to witness something so foreign, so impossible, that it challenges everything you thought you knew? If this is hitting home, hit subscribe and follow the next step of their emotional journey. The men try to speak, but the words are difficult to find. What can they say? How do they process the idea that a nation at war has ships designed for ice cream? The absurdity of it sits heavy in the air, like a fog that won't lift. The question hangs in the silence between them: how could this be real? How could a country with such vast industrial resources, such advanced machinery, dedicate so much effort to something as frivolous as ice cream? They had been taught that America was wasteful, decadent, a land driven by excess. But to see it, to witness it firsthand, is different. They had assumed that America's power was in its weapons, in its military might, its bombs and planes. What they didn't expect was this strange and almost unbelievable abundance. It makes them question everything. What kind of country is this? A country at war, yet capable of building ships to make ice cream? Where does this need for luxury come from, especially in times of crisis? The question eats at them as they move forward. They pass rows of houses, small shops with bright signs, and workers pushing carts laden with goods. The city is a beehive of activity, but the POWs feel oddly disconnected from it all. The sounds of the streets, the chatter of pedestrians, the clanking of metal from factories, it all feels distant, almost surreal. They are caught in the middle of something they cannot fully comprehend. They have always known war, hardship, struggle. But America seems to have mastered something different: efficiency. The more they witness, the more they realize that everything here, from the ice cream ships to the streets filled with moving parts, is designed to function with a precision they had never known. Think about it: how does a nation with so much excess maintain its power in a world at war? If this blows your mind, share your thoughts below and subscribe to keep following their journey. The group is led into another part of the camp. It's quieter here, more isolated, but the sounds of construction and machines are still present. They can hear the distant hum of machinery, the low murmur of people working, and the rhythmic pounding of industrial life. But it's not the noise that catches their attention now, it's the contrast. They had expected to see a broken nation, a country struggling to maintain its strength. But what they see instead is a country that has built efficiency into its very bones, a country that uses its abundance of resources to fuel its machinery and luxury. They had thought that the war would strip away these comforts, but instead, America's resilience seems to shine through in ways they had never imagined. As they sit quietly in their barracks, the memory of the ships lingers. Some of the men try to process what they saw, discussing it in hushed tones. It's hard to believe, hard to accept, that they were staring at something as simple, as human, as ice cream in the middle of a war. But the reality is undeniable. They had come here expecting to see destruction, the aftermath of a conflict they thought would leave America broken. Instead, they see luxury, abundance, and something more: the promise of survival through innovation and industry. The question keeps coming back: how could America do this? How could a country so vast, so full of resources, dedicate entire ships to a luxury they didn't need? And yet, it's not just the ice cream that strikes them, it's the system. The organization of it all. The industrial complexity. The ice cream ships, massive and almost comical in their purpose, are part of a much larger, far-reaching system. They are a piece of a machine that operates without hesitation. From the streets to the factories, to the railroads, and even to the ships making ice cream, everything here is designed to function in harmony. It's not just excess, it's a deeply embedded system of industry that doesn't slow down, even during wartime. They are left to wonder, what kind of country keeps running like this? The ships, the machinery, the system, they don't stop. They don't wait for the end of the war. They don't care about the struggles of other nations. America moves forward, and in doing so, it challenges everything they thought they knew about strength, survival, and luxury. The thought of ice cream, so simple, so sweet, yet so emblematic of the excess they never imagined, lingers in their minds long after the ships are out of sight. For them, it's not just the taste or the ships that stands out. It's the realization that America's true strength isn't in its weapons or its warships. It lies in the system. In the machinery. In the ability to keep everything moving, to keep it all going, even in the face of destruction. This is a new realization, a humbling one. And in that humility, they start to see something more. America is more than just an enemy. It is a force. A force of industry, power, and, above all, efficiency. The chill of the metal bench is all they feel beneath them, the cold air of the evening wrapping around their tired bodies. For days, the rhythm of the trains, the clang of factory machines, and the relentless hum of the shipyard have been their only soundtrack. But now, as they sit in the barracks, everything has stopped. There is a brief moment of silence before the word spreads among them. They will be given a taste of what they had only heard of before. They will be given ice cream. The phrase feels strange, like a dream too distant to reach. They are not children, not ignorant of luxury, but ice cream, that ice cream, was a concept that seemed alien. They had imagined America to be wasteful, a place where the rich indulged while the poor suffered. Ice cream was nothing but a fleeting idea, something they had never expected to touch, let alone eat. The moment the ice cream is served, it doesn't seem real. The bowl placed in front of them looks almost too pristine, too perfect. The coldness of the cream is a shock, an immediate contrast to the heavy heat of the day. The white and pale hues of the ice cream almost sparkle under the dim light. A few men eye it warily, unsure of what to make of this sweet, cold treat that seems so extravagant. But then, they taste it. Imagine that first bite, something you've only ever dreamed of, right in front of you. The texture is smoother than anything they've ever experienced. The sweetness hits their tongue in a rush, surprising them, making their mouths water. It's unlike anything they've had before, creamy, rich, luxurious. The ice cream is cold and velvety, a stark contrast to the harsh reality they've endured since their capture. It is so indulgent, so extravagant, that it takes them a moment to process the sensation. For a fleeting second, they forget that they are prisoners. The bitterness of the war, the loss of comrades, and the cold isolation of captivity fade into the background as they savor the treat. Their eyes widen, not in surprise but in astonishment. This is not what they imagined when they thought of the enemy. They had thought of a country driven by greed, waste, and hunger for power. But in this moment, ice cream stands as a symbol of something entirely different, a luxury they never thought would be within their reach. Pause here. How would you feel to experience something so unexpectedly luxurious? Something that challenges everything you thought you knew about a place? If this moment strikes a chord, hit subscribe to follow their journey as it unravels. They pass the bowls around, hesitant at first but then eager to take another spoonful. The coldness seems to melt away their doubts. The ice cream is more than just a treat, it is a symbol of everything they hadn't expected about America. The more they taste it, the more they are forced to confront the excess they had always believed was the hallmark of the enemy. The ice cream, rich and decadent, is a testament to abundance. It's a symbol of a nation that can afford such luxuries even in the midst of war. To them, it feels almost like an insult, yet they cannot stop themselves from indulging. How could a country at war focus on something so trivial? Something so pleasurable? The silence that fills the barracks is not one of hunger but of quiet contemplation. The men eat slowly, savoring the treat in their mouths, each bite carrying the weight of realization. The ice cream tastes of comfort, of peace, things they haven't known in months, if not longer. But beneath that sweet layer of indulgence, there is something darker. They begin to question, how could America, this country they had been taught to despise, afford to waste its resources on such trivial luxuries while the rest of the world suffers? Imagine the internal struggle of realizing your enemy can indulge in luxuries like this while the rest of the world is at war. If this moment is unsettling you, drop a comment below and share your thoughts. And subscribe to keep exploring the shocking truths that unfold. They finish their bowls, and yet the sweetness lingers, an unwelcome reminder of how far America is from the image they had been taught. This is not a country of destruction, it is a country of creation, of luxury, of indulgence. The ice cream ships are not just a form of entertainment for the Americans, they are indulgent creations made for comfort, made for peace, made for pleasure. How could something so simple bring forth such an emotional response? One man, who had been quiet up until now, suddenly speaks. "We are prisoners in a country of abundance," he murmurs, as if he himself can hardly believe the words. The others look at him, their faces grim, their eyes narrowed in thought. It's a statement, not of bitterness but of realization. They had come here expecting the horrors of war, expecting a country on the brink of collapse. But they've witnessed something else entirely, luxury in the midst of suffering, indulgence amidst conflict. They don't speak for a while, and the air in the barracks feels heavier. The ice cream ships they saw docked earlier, massive and imposing, are now tied to something more personal. The men had never imagined that something so simple, so sweet, could force them to rethink everything they knew about their enemy. The ships, with their colossal structures designed for one indulgence, are no longer just symbols of waste, they are symbols of American power, a power that is not just military might, but the ability to create. The realization cuts deeper than the sweetness of the ice cream itself. They look at one another, the silence between them filled with the weight of what they've learned. Ice cream. A treat. A luxury. And in that small indulgence, a new understanding is born. This country, the enemy, is not just a place of destruction and excess. It is a country of abundance, a place where even in times of war, pleasure and comfort are not far from reach. The more they reflect on the ice cream, the more they realize, America is not just their enemy. It is a country that operates on a scale they never understood, a scale of luxury and creation that seems completely beyond their comprehension. The men are left with a question: what else about America is hidden beneath the surface? And what else will surprise them on this unexpected journey? If you're curious to find out, hit subscribe to continue following their emotional journey. The men sit quietly in their barracks, the sweetness of the ice cream still lingering on their tongues. The luxury of it, so unexpected, continues to reverberate in their minds, like an echo that refuses to fade. What they had just experienced was not merely indulgence, it was something larger, more systematic. The ice cream, the ships, the industry, all of it is part of something greater, a machine that hums relentlessly, working with the precision of a well-oiled system. As they sit there, staring at the walls, their minds are filled with the image of those ice cream ships. They had come to America thinking they would encounter a weakened enemy, a nation struggling to survive, much like their own. What they have witnessed instead is a country that has mastered efficiency at every level. It's not just the size of the ships, the quantity of ice cream they produce, it's the system that allows this to happen. Everything works with such precision, such order, that it seems impossible for something to go wrong. They are led through another part of the camp the following day, and the sense of awe does not leave them. The machinery, the assembly lines, the workers all move with a sense of purpose and direction that makes their previous experiences of war, of confusion and chaos, seem insignificant. In their own country, they were used to inefficiencies, long lines, waits, broken machinery, and disrupted supply chains. But here, in America, it's different. Everything moves in perfect harmony, like the gears of a clock that will never stop ticking. The realization is overwhelming. They stop in front of a large warehouse, its exterior just as imposing as everything else they've seen. Inside, a different world awaits. The air is cool, filled with the hum of machines that seem to be in constant motion. Conveyor belts carry goods from one side of the warehouse to the other, workers move seamlessly between stations, each performing their task with quiet discipline. It's not just the scale of the operation that is impressive, it's the coordination, the flawless execution of every step in the process. There are no delays here, no confusion. Just order, precision, and the relentless forward motion of America's industrial might. Stop for a moment. Imagine walking into a system that functions like this, every cog working in perfect unison. How would it make you feel? If this thought strikes you deeply, hit subscribe to follow how the POWs process this realization further. As they stand in the shadow of the warehouse, they begin to realize that the ice cream ships are just one part of this vast, incomprehensible machine. The ice cream ships were merely a glimpse into a much larger system, one that moves not just goods, but an entire nation forward. This is not just about luxury. It's about organization, control, and the ability to function efficiently in all aspects of life. The same precision they saw in the factory is reflected in the trains, the supply chains, the infrastructure of America. The country moves, almost mechanically, with a purpose that is beyond anything they could have imagined. They walk deeper into the complex, their minds buzzing with the understanding of what they've just seen. Every part of this system is connected, each piece dependent on the others. The factories, the railroads, the ships, the assembly lines, all of it works in unison. It's a dance, a rhythm that keeps America's industrial machine humming, day after day, year after year. There is no room for mistakes. There is no room for inefficiency. Everything must move forward, and it must move forward with purpose. They had always thought of America as a land of excess, but now they are beginning to see it as something more. It is a land of control, a place where even the smallest detail is accounted for. Nothing is wasted. Every part of the process is designed to ensure that everything works, that nothing is left to chance. It's a system that thrives on precision, on efficiency, and on the ability to adapt to any challenge that arises. For the first time, the men begin to see the true nature of America. It is not just a country of excess, of waste, as they were taught. It is a country that thrives on organization, on purposeful design. It's a country that has mastered the art of function, and it shows in everything they encounter, from the ice cream ships to the factories, to the very streets they walk on. There is no room for inefficiency here. There is no room for mistakes. Everything works, and it works with precision. Can you imagine stepping into a world that functions like this? A world where every system is built to move in perfect harmony? If this realization hits you like it did the POWs, drop a comment and share your thoughts. And don't forget to subscribe to follow their journey into understanding the true power of America's system. As they walk deeper into the camp, passing workers who move with the same quiet efficiency, the men begin to understand something they hadn't considered before. The real power of America is not in its military might, its weapons, or its size. The real power lies in its ability to create, to organize, and to maintain a system that works at all levels. From the smallest factory to the largest industrial complex, everything operates with a sense of purpose that they cannot ignore. The more they see, the more they realize that this system is not just about production or luxury. It's about survival, the ability to move, to function, and to thrive in a world that is constantly changing. The ice cream ships were just one piece of this larger puzzle, but they were a reminder of the resilience of this country, its ability to adapt, and its commitment to efficiency. It's a realization that is both humbling and unsettling. For the first time since their capture, they begin to understand what they are up against. This is not just a country of excess, it is a country of purpose. A country that has mastered the art of moving forward, no matter what challenges it faces. The power of America is not just in its wealth or its military might, it is in its system, in the way everything is connected and everything works together to keep the nation moving forward. The men realize that they are no longer just prisoners in a foreign land, they are part of something much larger, something that moves with unstoppable force. The train hums steadily beneath them, its wheels clicking rhythmically against the tracks. The men sit, no longer surprised by the sound, but lost in thought. The journey across America is far from over, but in many ways, they've already seen enough. The factories, the ice cream ships, the precision of the machinery, each new discovery seems to add weight to the realization that America is unlike any country they have ever encountered. It is not a land of chaos and excess, as they had been taught. It is a land of order, purpose, and inexorable movement. And nowhere is that movement more visible than in the railroads that stretch across the country. The trains, moving effortlessly through the landscape, become a symbol of America's industrial might. They are not just vehicles for transport, they are the blood vessels that carry the lifeblood of the nation. The more the men observe, the more they realize, everything in America is connected. The trains, like the ice cream ships, are a small part of something much larger. A vast system of production and consumption that powers this country, a system that never stops. As they travel through cities, they see it clearly. Trains, loaded with freight, come and go with military-like precision. In some places, the trains snake through miles of track, their destination unknown to the men. In others, they stop at vast, sprawling stations, where workers unload goods, package materials, and prepare new shipments for departure. The trains seem endless, each one carrying more than just goods, it carries the very essence of America's industrial power. Pause and reflect for a moment. What would it feel like to be in a country where movement is constant, where the machines never stop working? If this realization is hitting you hard, hit subscribe to continue following the unfolding journey of these POWs. The men begin to notice the sheer scale of the operation. The trains don't stop for anyone. They are not concerned with the war, with the prisoners they carry, or with the fact that much of the world is still in conflict. The trains simply move forward, carrying goods from one place to another, crossing state lines, passing through cities, and moving over countless miles of track. They begin to understand that the power of America lies not just in its ability to produce, but in its ability to move, to connect its industries, its cities, and its people, through a network that can never be stopped. They watch in silence as the train they're on moves forward again, passing through fields and forests, over rivers, and through tunnels. The men wonder, how many more miles of track are there? How many more trains are running across the country, carrying goods, supplies, and people? It feels as though the country never sleeps. The trains move 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, without pause. The sheer constancy of it all is staggering. For the POWs, it becomes clear, this is not a country that can be stopped easily. It is a country that has built an intricate system, one that is too big to fail. As the train moves, the men notice the workers alongside the tracks. Their faces are tired but determined. The labor is hard, the days long, but they move with a quiet certainty that everything they do matters. Every piece of the puzzle fits into place, each worker, each machine, each train. Everything is part of the system. Everything functions together. Stop and think about this for a moment. What does it take to create a system that works this seamlessly? If this idea is challenging everything you've known about the strength of nations, drop a comment below and let us know. And subscribe to follow how the POWs views of America continue to shift. The men are becoming increasingly aware of something they had never considered before. America's true power is not in its military might, but in its ability to organize and move. It's a country built on a foundation of industry and coordination, where everything is connected, and nothing is left to chance. The trains are not just a means of transport. They are a symbol of American ingenuity, a testament to the efficiency and purpose with which the country operates. The men begin to talk among themselves, their voices low, their words slow as they try to understand the scale of it all. They had thought they were simply crossing a country full of luxury and excess, but now they see that America's power lies not just in its wealth, but in its ability to function, to produce, to move, and to organize. The ice cream ships were just a small piece of the puzzle, but now they see how it all fits together. The ships, the trains, the factories, they are all part of the same relentless machine, one that moves forward, no matter the circumstances. They come to a stop at another station, this one larger than the last. The train pulls in, and the men are given a brief moment to disembark. As they step off the train, they stand on the platform and take in the scene. Around them, workers unload crates of goods, passers-by walk briskly to their destinations, and in the distance, they see more trains moving, carrying goods across the vast expanse of the land. The scale of it all is overwhelming. They had never seen anything like it. This is not just a country that has mastered the art of production, this is a country that has mastered the art of movement. The more they see, the more they realize, this is not just a system, it is a symbol. A symbol of America's power, its resilience, and its ability to adapt. The trains are not just tools of transport. They are lifelines, the arteries that connect the country, that keep it alive and moving. The men are left in awe of the scale of it all, of how every piece of this vast machine works in perfect harmony. And in that awe, they begin to see their enemy in a new light. The country they once saw as chaotic, divided, and wasteful is now revealed to be something more. It is a country of precision, efficiency, and purpose. It is a country that has built its power not just on weapons or military might, but on its ability to function as a single, cohesive machine. The trains, the ice cream ships, the factories, they are all part of this larger, almost incomprehensible system, and the men are just now beginning to understand what makes it work. They had thought of America as a place of indulgence. Now, they see that it is a place where indulgence is just one part of a larger, more complex whole. The days blur together now, each one indistinguishable from the last. The trains continue to rumble on, carrying them across the vast American expanse, but the ice cream ships, their towering forms, remain etched in their minds. It is not just the sight of the ships, nor the rich, decadent taste of the ice cream, but the realization of what they represent, a country so rich, so powerful, that it can afford to indulge in such luxuries in the middle of a war. In the weeks that follow, the memory of the ships doesn't fade. It lingers in the men's minds, creeping into their thoughts when they least expect it. When they sit in silence in the barracks, when they are escorted through the streets, when they pass by the busy docks, they can still see the towering vessels, the sight of workers efficiently producing ice cream on ships designed for nothing but that singular purpose. They had come to America thinking they were heading to a place of destruction and waste, a nation on the brink of collapse, much like the one they had left behind. But now, they see something different. The image of those ice cream ships, their size, their purpose, their luxury, is a reminder of America's strength, not in military might, but in its ability to create, organize, and sustain its own abundance. The POWs sit together in the evening, the night stretching out before them as the dim light of the barracks flickers overhead. They don't speak much, but their eyes often meet in shared understanding. There are no words for it. They have all been struck by the same realization: America's power is not just in its weapons, its military strength, or even its industry. It lies in its ability to maintain what seems impossible: luxury, efficiency, and organization, all at once. Think about this for a moment. How does a country manage to balance luxury with war? How does a nation continue to indulge in comforts while engaged in global conflict? If you're curious about the answer, hit subscribe to continue the story of their discovery. The ice cream ships, which had seemed so absurd and excessive at first, are now seen in a new light. They are not just symbols of indulgence, they are proof of America's ability to thrive, even in the face of adversity. These ships are not just about luxury, they are part of a much larger system, a system that works tirelessly, a system that moves forward without stopping. The ice cream ships are a testament to America's resilience, to its will to continue, no matter the odds. As they reflect on the ships, the men realize that what struck them most was not the indulgence of it all, but the fact that America could afford such indulgence during a time of war. In their own country, they had been taught that luxury was reserved for the few, for the elite, and that such comforts were a distant dream, something out of reach. But here, in the face of everything they had been told, they see a different story. The luxury is not just a sign of excess, it is a sign of power. A nation that can afford to create such extravagance while at war is not a country on the verge of collapse. It is a country that knows how to survive, how to adapt, and how to keep moving forward, no matter what. The POWs sit in their barracks, the ice cream ships still fresh in their minds. Some of them, who had been the most skeptical, the most cynical about the ships, are now the ones who think about them the most. The men who had once laughed at the absurdity of it all now find themselves quietly contemplating the deeper meaning behind the ships. They understand now that it is not just about ice cream, it's about resilience, control, and the ability to maintain what many would consider unnecessary, even frivolous. The more they reflect, the more they realize how deeply their perception of America has changed. The enemy they had once viewed as wasteful, corrupt, and decadent now seems like something else entirely. The more they witness of America, the more they understand, this country is not defined by chaos. It is defined by structure, by efficiency, and by the ability to make things work on a scale they could never have imagined. The ice cream ships have become a symbol, not of luxury, but of the country's ability to create systems of abundance, to make everything run in perfect harmony. The more they think about it, the more they realize that these ships, while a small part of America's vast industrial system, embody the very spirit of the country. The more they understand about the way America works, the more they see how the system keeps everything in motion. The trains, the ships, the factories, all of it is part of the same machine. And it is a machine that never stops, that never falters.